We start with 1 hour chart. We want to see how we can analyze the chart. But before we start, I just want to refer to my last analysis. If you refer to our analysis in my last video, and even since the price was within this move, we have been looking for this zone, which is the first one is 37930 following by 37190. We mentioned we want to see whether we mentioned we can expect the price to drop to this zone. Then from there, we want to see whether the price can break or reverse. And even when the price was within this move, we mentioned about different possibility. And even we mentioned we can expect this one turn to a flat for price to drop. That's why I mentioned if we wants to look for buy, if the price drop to this one, which is what we have here, we need to see the reversal as a short move flag before we take the trade. And even I pointed on this. Okay, but as you can see, there was no trade set up for buy. And after the price correct within this move, and even we mentioned we know about the possibility of the flat, there was opportunity to look for sell. How to look for sell? The only way was to put our entry below this. Rather than that, we didn't have any other option. And either the stop loss above the top or above this move top. Failing within this correction was not a really good idea. The only way when we see this kind of the move, we put our entry below the correction. Okay. By the way, this is the only way we could look for trade, and whoever get this trade, if they get the trade, I think either move their stop loss to break even, or the best thing is they take out in a profit. No one see what's the next. Okay. And again, we see the correction here. And even if we put this low in relative to the previous one, if we refer to the indicators, the first indicator showing me the divergence, but MACD, I don't see the divergence. That means we cannot confirm for the reversal. The only thing is, based on low, if we put this low in relative to the previous one, we can expect to get the divergence. That's my referring to the indicators right now. It doesn't give us really good information whether the price can reverse or not. What we can expect, either we get a deeper correction, that means mostly we cannot look for buy, or we look at this one as a flat. And if we get one more drop as a corrective move, mostly we can confirm with the divergence based on for both of the indicators. All right. Now we want to see what's the next and how we can look for next move based on. All right. And first we start with the daily chart. All right. Again, if you refer to our analysis, I mentioned we want to see the breakout of this correction. As long as the price haven't couldn't broke this correction, we are within. Any trade we get is a short-term trade. What I mean by short-term, if it's not moving in our direction, we take out the trade. Okay, and for me, the best things is if the price can break the lowest price of this correction, at least we can put this correction in relative to the first and the last, then any reversal we can expect for the long term. But if the price reverse from here, we cannot confirm. Even there is a possibility this move can turn to a more deeper correction and the price drop. Okay, that's why if you want to buy, look for the long-term trade, just buy and keep it. Buying within this is not a really good idea. We just try to trade within the correction. Even I mentioned my last analysis every times. Okay, and if we move to forward chart, that's why when the price was at the top, we mentioned we need to see the breakout of this. So if the price cannot break, it can drop, and this is what we get. And again, we have been looking for the three-wave structure in relative to this. Since the price was within this move, we mentioned we can get one move up, and exactly this is what we get. Okay, if you want to look at the chart in terms of the Elliott wave, then we can put this one in relative to this. Okay, that means we can expect this one turn to a more complex correction. Whether this move can retest the previous low or not, if the price retest and break the lowest price, then any reversal, as I mentioned, it can give us better confirmation for long term. Okay, that's mean right now we can put our line here, and we put this one as a bigger internal correction in relative to the first and the last. Okay, how deep this one can go? The best things at least retest the previous low, which is somewhere around around 31K. Okay, now it doesn't mean if we want to look for trade, we have to wait for the price to drop and retest the previous low. I mentioned is the best case if we want to look for buy. Okay, now whether we should look for buy or sell, we cannot confirm. The only thing is we want to see what we get here. We have to look at this correction. If they're based on forward chart, we get the deeper correction, any sell can be an option to look for trade. But buying or selling within the bigger correction, it depends on the traders. If they have the good skill, they can manage it, is good. The best things was if anyone sold from the top. Okay, but still we can look for trade within this move. But we have to wait for the correction to give us a trade setup. If we do the trade setup, we are not going to look for any trade when the price is correcting within the bigger time frame. Okay, and right now, as I mentioned, I want to put this move in relative to this. And for me, I'm expecting, like, I will prefer the price drop, retest the previous low before I look for buy, because I need to see the confirmation whether this correction can confirm to be complete or not. Okay, then that's mean we don't have any trade setup. Even if the price reverse from here based on forward chart, we cannot get any trade setup unless we trade based on lower time frame. And if I move to 1 hour chart, as I mentioned, if we want to look for trade, still we can put this to as a flat, as a correction in the bigger picture. And the best thing is if the price drop, then from there we see whether we can look for reversal or not. That means we can refer to the indicators whether we have a divergence or not. Okay, then from there we can look for trade. And right now, how about if the price reverse from here? Can we look for buy? We don't have any trade set up here. How about if I move to 15 minutes? We don't have really good trade setup. What I can see here is a flat. Okay, then how about the first things? How about if the price reverse from here? How we can look for trade? Technically, either we put our entry above the stop in case the price sharply continue, or we wait for the continuation as a sharp move with the breakout of the previous stop, and if flag or correction above there, we take the trade. This is the only way we can look for next trade if we want to look for buy. Buying right now without the trade setup, I won't suggest it. Even I mentioned, based on the indicators, we don't see any reversal point. Okay, I need to highlight, it doesn't mean the price cannot reverse. The only thing is how we can look for trade. Okay, and having entry above this is not a really good idea, because simply the price can tag and drop. Why? Because what I can see here is a flat. I'm expecting the price to drop. That's why having entry above this, it depends on the traders. I won't suggest it unless we see any sharp move, flag, or similar to what we have here, just as example. All right, or we wait for the price to drop, then from there we see whether we can look for reversal or not. If the price drop, we see there is no reversal, we just let it go. Okay, and since we look at this one as a flat, we expecting the price to drop, mostly we cannot get trade set up unless any one trade based on lower time frame, either 15 minutes, mostly 15 minutes. Then what should we do? Just wait. We don't need to take any trade within this. If the price move either down or up without giving us a trade setup, we just let it go. Because if we want to look for buy, if we move to daily chart, we know where the price is. It is. It is as a mid of this correction. Okay, that's why if we want to look for trade, the best thing is we wait for the deeper correction, similar to what we get here. Because deeper correction, it can give us better confirmation for continuation. Okay, then the only things I can say, whoever get the trade for sell, either move their stop loss to break even or take out the trade. If they can book some profit, for example, move their stop loss to somewhere around 36600, that means 36,600 is good for them. All right. Anyway, I mean, as I mentioned, based on the higher time frame, we try to trade it. And if anyone wants to look for buy for long term, if they get any opportunity for buy, we try to take it. And if it's not moving in our direction, we just take out the trade. Rather than that, I won't suggest anything else. This is what I do. Okay. And again, we don't have really good trade setup. The only thing is right now I'm looking for, I want to see whether I can get one more drop or not, and whether to look for sell or not. Mostly we cannot expect to look at the really good sell setup. How about if I move to 15 minutes? All right. I cannot suggest anything. Even if he wants to look for the sharp move flag, maybe we can look for trade. But is a short-term trade. We try to find the trade based on higher time frame, either 1 hour or 4 hour chart. In this case, we just follow the chart. If I see any update, I will share. Thanks.